Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by
IWS Aviation.
Good evening and welcome to the State of Business on Art Television. I am Chavika Samarasinghe. Let's have a look at the headlines. Litro slashes gas prices. Economic Community expects no change to interest rates. News in detail. Litro announces that it will be reducing the price of its domestic gas cylinders from tonight. This revision to pricing follows an upgrade to the gas price formula. The development comes on the back of a collective effort by the Ministry of Finance, the Consumer Affairs Authority, the Presidential Secretariat and Litro Gas Lanka Limited. The price of a 12.5 kg domestic Litro gas cylinder will be increased by 271 rupees to 4,280 rupees. Litro's 5 kg gas cylinder will shed 107 rupees, bringing the retail price to 1,720 rupees, while the 2.3 kg cylinder will drop 48 rupees and retail at 800 rupees. Meanwhile, it is reported that both flour importing companies, Prima Ceylon Private Limited and Serendip Flour Mills Private Limited, have increased prices by 13 rupees per kilogram. Following this increase, a 50 kg bag of wheat flour will cost 14,500 rupees. However, this increase is not expected to be passed on to consumers of baked goods. Even though prices have increased, there is a marked shortage of wheat flour in the market and among companies. The economic downturn and the 2.5% Social Security contribution tax have resulted in a 400% increase in the price of bakery ingredients. Previously, Minister of Trade, Commerce and Food Security, Nalin Fernando, stated in Parliament that measures would be taken to reduce the price of wheat flour by up to 250 rupees per kilogram. In a similar vein, as a consequence of the cascade triggered by the Social Security contribution tax, the price of local milk powder has increased. The dairy sector announced that a 400-gram pack will see a 100 rupee increase to 950 rupees and that the 1 kilogram pack will rise 230 rupees to 2,350 rupees. Despite this, Sri Lankan milk powder remains cheaper than imported varieties, of which a 400-gram pack costs 1,160 rupees. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved to present the draft appropriation bill with enhanced expenditure for financial year 2023 in Parliament. The draft appropriation bill estimates a total expenditure of 7.8 trillion rupees for 2023. Recurrent expenditure has been estimated at 4.6 trillion rupees, while the total capital expenditure has been estimated at 3.24 trillion rupees. The gross borrowing requirement is estimated at 4.43 trillion rupees. The proposal to this effect was submitted by President Ranil Wickremesinghe in his capacity as Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies. After the draft appropriation bill is submitted in Parliament, it will be published in the Government Gazette. This is the first stage of preparing the budget for 2023. In September, the government approved the Appropriation Amendment Bill for 2022. According to the Appropriation Bill for 2022, 2,796.4 billion rupees was estimated for the fiscal year from 1st January to 31st December. However, the Appropriation Amendment Bill for 2022 estimated 3,275.8 billion rupees for ministerial service expenses. In accordance with this, expenditure required for ministerial service activities has increased by 479.4 billion rupees. For financial year 2022, the credit amount obtained from within or outside Sri Lanka will be increased from 3,200 billion rupees to 4,082 billion rupees. Subject to Parliament approval, the government borrowing limit is increased by about 882 billion rupees. The government's estimated debt servicing cost, authorized by law as a consolidated fund expense, has been given space to increase from 2,623 billion rupees to 2,901 billion rupees. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka is likely to maintain interest rates tomorrow in an effort to control inflation, which has remained high despite a sharp contraction in the economy. Economists and analysts expect rates to remain unchanged as the central bank waits for the effects of earlier hikes to filter through to the economy and for inflation to stabilize. The central bank raised rates by a record 950 basis points this year to battle high inflation, which is adding to economic woes. However, inflation has remained high, hitting a record peak of 68.9% in September, with food inflation climbing to 93.7%. The economy shrank 8.4% in the quarter through June from a year ago, in one of the steepest declines seen in a 3-month period amid fertilizer and fuel shortages. The central bank predicts an 8.7% contraction in the economy for 2022. The acute dollar shortage has left the nation grappling with its worst financial crisis in 7 decades. It struggles to pay for essential imports of food, fuel, and medicine. Holding rates at current levels will help ensure demand does not drive increased imports. This is vital as it will help conserve low foreign reserves for the import of essential goods. The Monetary Authority held rates in its last policy announcement on 18th of August 2022. The standing deposit facility rate and standing lending facility rate are at 14.5% and 15.5% respectively. Sri Lanka entered a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund for a $2.9 billion extended fund facility last month, but has to figure out how to restructure its debt before these funds can be disbursed. Stay tuned. We will return after this commercial break.
Meet your work and learn targets. Get 30 GB Meet Lite for just 195 rupees and 100 GB Meet Max for 490 rupees. Log on to My SLT app to activate. SLT Mobitel.
5-star teaching quality for 16 years straight. Edith Cowan University in Sri Lanka offering the only full Australian degrees in commerce, software engineering, cybersecurity, biomedical science, gaming and interactive design. Enrolling now for the November 2022 intake. Call 077 3900.
Welcome back. With the presenting of proper information by the Board of Investment, the order under the Strategic Development Act has received Committee on Public Finance approval. The order in question was previously denied approval due to the lack of fundamental information required to justify its need. The order under the Strategic Development Project Act number 14 of 2008, published under Extraordinary Gazette Notification 2291/25, did not receive Committee of Public Finance approval when it was first presented on Monday. However, on Tuesday, the committee approved the order upon the presentation of proper analysis by the Board of Investment. The Board of Investment was instructed on Monday to come before the committee with all data and analysis by 9 a.m. the following day. Accordingly, the Committee on Public Finance met on Tuesday at 9 a.m. under the chairmanship of Dr. Harsha De Silva. Thereafter, the Board of Investment presented the requisite data and thus approval was given. This order, published under Gazette number 2291/25, dated 3rd of August 2022, and enacted by the President in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies, was presented to Parliament on the 20th of September 2022. The committee pointed out that although the Gazette was approved, the basis for giving tax concessions for a period of 17 years to the company making the investment should be properly analysed. It also highlighted that in the future, a proper policy should be prepared to allocate tax concessions in line with established investment brackets. The main opposition, Samagi Janabalawegaya, yesterday nominated Professor Charitha Herath to the Parliamentary Oversight Committee on Public Enterprises, which is also known as COPE. Professor Herath previously served as the chairman of COPE, but had been overlooked by the Committee of Selection during the latest nominations. SJB parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva, originally nominated to the COPE, announced his resignation, enabling SJB leader Sajith Premadasa to propose Professor Herath.
කෝප් කමිටුවේ තියෙන අසාධාරණය නිවැරදි කරන්න ඒක ඉතා වැදගත් අවශ්‍යතාවයක් මේ රටේ දූෂණය අක්‍රමිකතාවය වළක්වන්න ඕනේ නම් එතන තමයි බලගන්න ඕන ප්‍රධාන තැනක් ඒක මොළහතාගේ අවතාර වලින් පුරවල නම් ඒක කරන්න පුළුවන්කම ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ.
අපේ විපක්ෂ නායකතුමා අද පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ප්‍රකාශයක් කළා චරිත හේරත් මන්ත්‍රීතුමා පත් කෙරුවා. එතකොට ගිය පක්ෂ නායක රැස්වීමේදී ඔබතුමාගේ සහයෝගය ඇතිව 4:00ට නවතින පාර්ලිමේන්තුව 5 දක්වා දීර්ඝ කරලා පැය භාගයක් දුන්න මේ ස්වාධීන කණ්ඩායම 4ට. අපි තමයි ඒකට බැදියත් උනේ.
කෝප් කමිටුවේ සභාපතිවරයා විදිහට මහාචාර්ය චරිත හේරත් මැතිතුමා මම හිතන අපි දෙපාර්ශ්වය අතරේ කිසිම මතභේදයක් නැහැ. රටම පිළිගත්තා ඉතා විශිෂ්ට කාර්යභාරයක් කරා. රාජ්‍යංශයේ අකාර්යක්ෂමතාවය පිළිබඳ වංචාවන් පිළිබඳව දූෂණයන් පිළිබඳව මුළු රටම ගරු කරා. මම දන්නේ ඇයි ආණ්ඩුව එහෙම තීන්දුවක් ගන්න කටයුතු කරන්න කියලා. එක බලධාරියෙක් මට මතකයි කිව්වා මාධ්‍ය සාකච්ඡාවකට ඇවිල්ලා දැන් විපක්ෂ වාඩි වෙච්ච නිසා අපිට මේ තීන්දුව ගන්න බෑ කියලා. හැබැයි ඒකට කෝපයක සම්බන්ධයෙන් කෝපායක සම්බන්ධයෙන් එක බලංගු වෙන්නේ නෑ දැන්. ඒකට නම් කරනවා. ඒ නිසා ඒක මහාචාර්ය චරිත හේරත් මැතිතුමා විපක්ෂයේ නියෝජනය කරන්නට තීන්දුව ගත්තු නිසා අර්ධ සාක්ෂියට එකඟව ඊට එරෙහිව ගනු ලැබූ තීරණයක් කියලා කියන එකට කාටවත් මම හිතන්නේ තර්කයක් තියෙනවා කියලා. ඒක ලැජ්ජාවට කාරණාවක්. ඒක කනගාටුවට කාරණාවක්. ඒක වේදනාවට කාරණාවක්. ඇයි දේශපාලනේ මේ තරම් ප්‍රාථමික තත්ත්වයට ගෙනියන්නේ? ඇයි දේශපාලනේ මේ තරම් ගෝත්‍රික තත්ත්වයට ගෙනියන්නේ කරු කතානායකතුමනි?
Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in collaboration with the Lakshman Kadirgama Institute, yesterday commemorated the 25th anniversary of the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Technical and Economic Cooperation. This event was supported by the South Asia Network of Economic Modelling and InReach Global. Participating as keynote speaker, State Minister for Foreign Affairs Tharaka Balasuriya stated that it was a special occasion for Sri Lanka to host this event, as the 5th BIMSTEC Summit was held in Sri Lanka this year. The State Minister's address dwelled on the aspects of past BIMSTEC contributions and its relevance and significance today. State Minister Balasuriya noted that the region is amongst the fastest growing economies in the world and that BIMSTEC nations share culture, religious practices, rich history and well-documented civilizational links. He reiterated that the success of any regional bloc is based on its contribution to the well-being of the peoples of its member states. He holds that the bloc's upcoming working agendas would attain this objective and propel the organization towards extending service to the peoples of the member countries. This commemoration hosted 2 panel discussions moderated by Director General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Manori Mallikarachchi, and leading economist Dr. Nihal Pittigala. The panelists discussed the progress of the BIMSTEC over the last 25 years and its relevance today. The event saw attendance by diplomatic corps, academia, and government officials. Stay tuned for stock updates.
Meet your work and learn targets. Get 30 GB Meet Lite for just 195 rupees and 100 GB Meet Max for 490 rupees. Log on to my SLT app to activate. SLT Mobitel.
Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended on positive notes today. The all-share price index gained 81.96 points to close at 9,319.01, and the S&P SL20 gained 12.47 points to close at 2,887.67. The turnover was 2.6 billion rupees and over 102 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. That's all our news for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Take care and good night.
State of Business was sponsored by
IWS Aviation.